Hundreds of pro-migrant protesters outside the ICE Federal Detention Center in downtown LA demanding
a sanctuary ordinance in every city,
wearing shirts and holding signs against President-elect Donald Trump's plans for deportations.
And let them know that we're going to mobilize and we're going to fight.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program of criminals.
Trump's inauguration now just 1 month away.
There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear in the community.
Flor Martinez Zaragoza here from San Jose for International Migrants Day. What's your main goal with today?
To stand in solidarity, but also as somebody undocumented, somebody with DACA, my own rights are at risk. I am not afraid, but I know a lot of people that are. And it's just here to show them that they're not alone and that there's people fighting.
This is happening right now. Hundreds of illegal aliens with foreign flags are protesting President Trump and border czar Tom Homan outside of an ICE facility in Los Angeles. All because, Tom Homan and President Trump said that on day one, they are definitely going to implement the deportations and they're not going to waste any time doing so. Even when Tom Homan was asked in what realistic time frame will it happen, he said on day one. Excuse me. Somebody also wrote, that's going to be lit when they try this, when Trump takes office. Tom Homan will be down there rounding them up. Yes, he will. And then I see pictures of people just saying round them up. Oh, wow. Speaking of Tom Homan, he got emotional in this interview when he talked about why he does what he does. I think that's the best way to sum it up. Let's check it out.
300,000 missing children. That's something else I've read reference to.
Look, over 500,000 children been trafficked into this country.
This problem is just so enormous, and the bureaucracy is so complex and hard to fight, and they always win in the end. Why would you take this job?
I say this many times because of things I've seen in my career. So I grew up in town 2,500. I fast forward. I'm standing back with tractor trailer, 19 dead people at my feet that baked to death in back that tractor trailer, including a 5-year-old little boy who suffocated to death. And on top of him was his father who was trying to protect him. During that investigation, they said that little boy begged his father not to let him die because he wanted to see his mom again. Here's a 5-year-old little boy who knew he was dying and asked his dad for help. And his dad, his dad can't help him, right?
No.
I've talked to little girls as young as 9 that were raped multiple times by members of the cartel. Grown men crawled upon this little girl, took everything innocent and pure from her. Her life would never be the same. Look in her eyes. There wasn't life in her eyes. It's just, this little girl's devastated for life. And this happens every day. I wrote an op-ed of Fox News, and I says, if Joe Biden wins the presidency, we lose the border. But when you lose the border, trafficking of sex trafficking will skyrocket. Child deaths will skyrocket. Migrant deaths will skyrocket. American deaths will skyrocket from drugs coming across that border. So when President Trump calls me up, says, you've been complaining about for 40 years. You want to come fix it? How do you say no?
I'm not going a lot of y'all, man, that was hard to just hear, man, let alone know that he bear witness to that and knowing that this is happening on a regular basis. I think it's important that every single person watch that video. Every single person needs to listen to that clip from start to finish, and everybody needs to know what's actually happening, and I know that there's so much worse that Tom knows. I know that there's so much worse, and it's just heartbreaking knowing that these Democrats want to continue this charade. They want to continue this, the potential of all of this just going down even worse. They want to just continue it, man. But he recently went to CNN and he went to talk to them on what mass deportations actually look like. Let's check it out.
And you said that everyone, though, is on the table if they are here in the country illegally. As you know, there's a lot of mixed status households in the United States. Do you plan to take both parents into custody if there are minor children in the house?
If you're in the country illegally and you got order of deportation, we're going to arrest you, we're going to detain you, we're going to remove you.
See how they trying to do this, though? She's trying to, do the whole I'm not saying it's sensationalized, but she's trying to sensationalize this to the audience. Now, it's a real question, but she frames it like, oh, you're going to do this specific thing to hurt people. You're going to do this specific thing to hurt people, removing the context of the overall goal, which is just removing anybody that's here illegally. That's the goal.
Illegally, and you got order of deportation, we're going to arrest you, we're going to detain you, we're going to remove you. If they have a U.S. citizen child, if they chose after they come to the country illegally and chose after been ordered removed to have a U.S. citizen child and think, okay, the court order doesn't mean anything anymore, the removal order doesn't mean anything anymore, then what kind of message we send into the whole world? Go ahead and cross the border illegally, which is a crime, ignore a judge's order of deportation, but have a baby and you're fine. If we do that, then shut down the immigration court because the orders don't mean anything anymore and take the border patrol off the border. We can't send a message to the whole world that you can violate laws of this country and not leave as required by judge and have a U.S. citizen child. You're okay. That child can stay. They can stay with a relative. They can stay with the other parent, or they can take them with them. We don't deport U.S. citizens, but they put themselves in the position. We didn't.
I don't see why people can't understand the logic in this. And I also want to go ahead and remove the idea that we somehow don't support immigration to no degree. We definitely do, but legal immigration. I will acknowledge that there definitely are issues at the border in terms of processing. However, America, we're not saying that we don't want anybody from foreign countries to be able to enter and become citizens. It's the American dream to be able to do so. In fact, that's quite literally what we are in America. However, we're just saying that we don't want nobody just crossing over here illegally. You know, somebody says if two American parents are caught running a meth lab and both are arrested, what happens to that child when they go to jail? We have no sympathy when criminals break the law, so stop it. Why should people who broke the law get special treatment just because they had a kid? It's simple. Excuse me. If you violate the system, you face the consequences. Now, in Chicago, we know everything that's been going on with the Chicago residents, but they've been screaming for Tom Homan and Donald Trump to come down there and clean it up because Brandon Johnson, he looked like he's going to be unemployed really soon. Check this out.
All right, the first city Tom Homan plans to clean up is Chicago, where residents are lashing out at Mayor Brandon Johnson.
You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants, not Harold Washington. You gonna be held accountable for it.
All you illegals, you ain't gonna have no Merry Christmas. You're gonna have a Merry Deportation Christmas.
We need Tom Homan here in Chicago. We need Donald Trump. We need to start voting different in these cities like New York and Chicago. You got a 14% approval rating. So the people is looking like they're telling you that you're fired, man. Can you do the job, Mr. Brandon Johnson?
And how did Mayor Brandon Johnson respond to his constituents? Well, he threw him out of the meeting.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. Please restore order.
Can I have your attention, please? Ladies and gentlemen, please go to your closest exit.
That's
Joining
insane.
me now, Chicago resident Vashon Tunsil, who was at that Chicago City Council meeting. Vashon, what's the biggest problem you're seeing with illegals in Chicago right now?
Well, they're getting all of our resources, all the American people in Chicago. Brandon Johnson has given these illegal immigrants over, $500 million while American people struggle and starve on the street. But not only that, now he wants to protect these illegals that's here in Chicago, Illinois illegally. And I just don't believe that's the right thing to do as a mayor when you have a 14% approval rating. And then the people realize why our city is so bad. It's because they keep voting Democrat.
But Sean, the guest that Fox had on there, the Chicago resident that was speaking to Mayor Johnson, went on to speak to Tom Homan on this segment, quite literally begging him to come to Chicago and make good on that promise that he made a couple weeks ago when Tom Homan visited Chicago. It was quite sad to see. But Chicago is definitely fed up and they are definitely looking red. Chicago Red has definitely turned into a revolution. Shout out to Danny C, who, so graciously blessed us with her presence on the channel not too long ago. But you can see that MAGA is speaking up. We voted for Trump for a reason, and it was for this reason. Somebody just said the illegals here in America hate the illegals in the country as we hate them. What goes around just the way it goes. As somebody else said, I'm 6 to 7 hours south of Chicago, but yes, fired. Money laundering and population replacement for WEF agenda. I ain't gonna lie. The one question that I keep asking myself when it comes to Mayor Brandon Johnson is, how much is he getting paid from this? what benefits do he get from rallying against the president? You know what I mean? To sit there and say that, hey, I'm going to fight against these mandates to get rid of these deportation mandates. Like, you know, like who is he and why? And then he's asking for all this credit. I think he's just trying to run it up as much as he possibly can before he gets up out of here. Now, Tom Homan, he says that he worked under 6 presidents, and Joe Biden is the only one who took steps to unsecure the border. And the reason he did it is for power, like placing illegals into a census so Democrats could have more seats. This guy, Joe Biden.
California, San Diego sector.
Yep.
But to go from the most secure border of my lifetime under President Trump, based on data, right? That's just my opinion. That's data. Go from the most secure border of my lifetime to historic illegal immigration in one administration. That's by design. That's not mismanagement.
Yeah.
That's by design.
What do you think the goal was?
You know, I asked that a lot of you, why would anybody open the border up? I think Joe Biden's the first president in American history who came in office and unsecured the border. I worked for, 6 presidents. Obama and Clinton took steps to secure the border because they understood you possibly can't have, there's no way you can have strong national security. If you don't have border security, you need to know what's coming in, who's coming in, where it's coming in, why it's coming in. Joe Biden's first president came in office and unsecured the border. And people ask me all the time why. I think they see a future political benefit. I think they think these people will be future Democratic voters, number 1. 2, but we don't even have to get there, right, Tucker? I mean, when Biden signed over 9 executive orders getting rid of everything we did, he also overturned the Trump census rule, where millions of illegal aliens be counted in all these sanctuary cities, which is going to result in more seats in the House for the Dems and the reproportionate seats in the House.
Can that be undone?
Oh, yeah. I think President Trump needs to get, when he gets back in.
And what I'm learning right now is Democrats have been padding their numbers with illegals for decades, apparently. Mass deportations will result in Democrats losing a large number of representatives in the House.